Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Today, December 4th, 2015, the FBI has gone before the mainstream media and said that they are now investigating the December 2nd San Bernardino shooting as an act of terrorism. They're saying that they have evidence the woman who is a suspect in the shooting went online and made a pledge to ISIS under an alternate ID. Let's begin by watching the FBI head present the case. After he's done speaking, what we're going to do is we're going to revisit how ISIS was originally introduced to the United States in 2013 and what the agenda's been ever since. From there, we'll take apart the San Bernardino shooting. I did a video 2 days ago with the early details. That's when they first reported that it was 3 white males and there was a manhunt for 3 white males. By the end of the day, it became a married Middle Eastern couple. Something hardly believable, which all these stories that they present to us are. So anyway, we'll watch his coverage, then we'll take it all apart. If you're new here, please stay. What I teach in these videos are very valuable skills that can change your life and help you spread knowledge to the people in your life who need to be awakened to this as well. All of us living in this nation are the victims of state-sponsored terrorism, which is exactly what this is. Propaganda used to scare for agenda. Here we go.
The explosive device. I do want to go forward today and tell you that as of today, based on the information and
I just have to pause. Excuse me, Truth Seeker. Look at what time that he goes on air at. 11:22. In a minute, I'm going to talk about how important 33 is to the FBI. Just notice 11 plus 22 is 33. Also, 2:22 Eastern Time, and this San Bernardino shooting is heavily coded with 222. We're going to get to it all, Truth Seeker. Just be aware of these things. Lots of knowledge here coming in this video post.
And the facts as we know them, we are now investigating these horrific acts as an act of terrorism. We have uncovered evidence that has led us to learn of extensive planning. Obviously, we've uncovered evidence of explosive, multiple armaments. You know that. You know the ammunition that was out there, the high-powered weapons, the explosive devices. We are continuing to go down the path to ensure that we find all of the evidence that pertains to this matter. We have also uncovered evidence that these subjects attempted to destroy their digital fingerprints. For example, we found 2 cell phones in a nearby trash can. Those cell phones were actually crushed. We have retained those cell phones, and we do continue to exploit the data from those cell phones. We do hope that the digital fingerprints that were left by these 2 individuals will take us towards their motivation. That evidence is incredibly important. I want to ensure that everyone understands that just because the FBI has now taken the leadership based on the trajectory of this case, we're not just taking this on our own. We are going to continue down the same path we have been, which is a lockstep operation with these partners. That is important. They are the protectors of this community. We have the mandate to investigate terrorism to its fullest extent. We are working hand in hand with our other federal, local, and state partners. We are also working hand in hand with our foreign counterparts to ensure that we find any connections that pertain to this matter.
You know what part of that I like the least, Truth Seeker, is when he was saying, you know what kind of weapons. The reason he speaks about that so confidently is because he knows we, the public, are getting bombarded with these stories at an ever-increasing pace where they present the same facts every time. Long gun, AR-15, extra handguns, pipe bombs. They make all these people out to be miniature Rambos. You know, this is a young married couple with a 6-month-old baby. Anybody who's been through that situation knows there's not too much time left over to be making the pipe bombs. Said both of them work for the public health department, working parents, young child. The facts never add up in these stories. The FBI director also talked a lot about terrorism. Let's go to what the original definition of terrorism was. A system of terror, government by intimidation. Think about what we live in, truth seeker. It is very much government by intimidation. It is constant scare stories and saying support us or else. Let me take you back to 2013 and jog your memory of what happened then. In the summer of 2013, there was a repeal of the propaganda ban. In a way, this was just symbolic. This propaganda ban, it was never really anything anyway. But since it's been repealed, there has definitely been a quickening of stories in the media that are very much propagandists. Of course, we know that the propaganda ban isn't real because it was in place when September 11th happened, and that day is one of the worst acts of government-sponsored propaganda terrorism ever. I have many posts on that. Just know that what happened on 9/11 was put on by your government and blamed on a boogeyman for an agenda of war as well as domestic law changes, turning this into a police state, setting up the foundation for a spy surveillance state. We now see that more than a decade later. Cameras everywhere, more police everywhere. News stories are being scared constantly. Anyhow, after the repeal of this propaganda ban, we were told about this chemical weapons attack in Damascus, known as the Ghouta chemical attack. The numbers coded into this event are highly Masonic. We're going to be talking about the Freemasons, the control they have on government, police, media. After this chemical weapons attack, which was very poorly reported. At first we were told thousands of people were killed. Then it came out that it was just hundreds. Then down to less than 100. We even had a nun in the headlines saying that she was there and it was all a lie. Nobody died. Nothing happened, which is probably the truth. But after this, President Obama and John Kerry went before the nation and started beating the war drum, saying we need to bomb Syria, we need to send troops, we need to get Bashar al-Assad out of this nation. We need to stop this terrorist regime that is growing. The public wasn't fond of it. In the media, they said the war didn't pull well. There was no war. The media drum stopped beating. But then weeks later, we got reports of Al-Qaeda and this new group, ISIS. ISIS was supposed to be a radical breakoff from Al-Qaeda. Supposedly Al-Qaeda was too politically correct for ISIS. So now there was this new, even more radical terrorist threat. We got stories of beheadings right away. It was daily beheading stories, just like it was at the beginning of the Iraq war with Al-Qaeda. If you can go back to the beginning of Iraq, 2003, constant beheading stories. And I was in college at that time, and I remember how it affected my male counterparts, my peers who heard these stories. Everyone was talking about it. It was pissing everybody off. People were saying things like, man, I wish we would just nuke that fucking place. You know? These stories have a real psychological impact. That is why governments sponsor propaganda. That's why propaganda has been used in the past to lure people into agenda. They don't teach us about World War I in this country, but the rhetoric, the propaganda used by the government to build up war morale and get people interested in joining World War I was that they were told the leader of Germany was the Antichrist. That was the message put out by our government that attracted men all over the nation to go and fight in the First World War. Religion has always been used as a tool by these people for war. That's why the whole post-9/11 agenda has been anti-Islam, building up this division between Christianity and Islam. A system of terror, government by intimidation, exactly what we live in. The real terrorists are in our government. So let's go through this little lesson about the FBI and the Masons. The FBI was originally established as just the Bureau of Investigation, July 26, 1908. This is a date with 33 numerology, which is a number of obsession for the Freemasons. The Freemasons are an international organization. At the beginning of this nation's history, if you read about it, the majority of the important people were Freemasons, including the signers on the Declaration, George Washington, and more. But Masonry, much older than the nation. Just know that Freemasonry has been with this nation since the beginning and has always had a major influence. So this FBI established on a date with 33 numerology. It was also July 26th. 7 plus 26 is another 33. Some other interesting numerology in the date. July 26, 1908 connects to the number 51. The word conspiracy equals 51. Think of Area 51. Freemason equals 51. 41, an important number to the nation. USA equals 41. 41 is the 13th prime. It began with 13 colonies. Also, this is for the federal police force. The word police has a gematria of 33. The word federal has a gematria of 33. The capital for the federal government is in Washington, D.C., which sums to 137, the 33rd prime number. It would go from the Bureau of Investigation to the Federal Bureau of Investigation on March 22nd, 1935. This is a date with 60 numerology, like the word police, also a number that connects to conspiracy. Notice that the date March 22nd can be written 22/3 or 322. The word Masonic in Jewish gematria is 223. The secret order Skull and Bones at Yale is a Masonic order. The alumni are called Bonesmen, which has a gematria of 33, and they identify by the number 322. George W. Bush was the president when 9/11 happened, a former member of Skull and Bones, who graduated from Skull and Bones 33 years before becoming president. He graduated in 68, the same year 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, the same year World Trade Center construction began. He has a life number of 33. This is no coincidence, truth seeker. This is all part of how well the Masons run the show and plan it out. Bob Kerrey, 9/11 commissioner, since being on the 9/11 commission, has made it public that September 11th was a more than 30-year planned conspiracy by our own government. He says nobody will ever get to the bottom of it. Too deep. But he said that for people who are out there searching for truth. In this San Bernardino shooting, truth seeker, the first witness CNN put on was a man in sunglasses with a Freemason baseball cap. And you're listening to the voice of someone who has had a blog online since late 2013. When I saw the war drum start beating, I started a blog explaining what's going on in the world, how we're being led into unnecessary war, and I've been working hard ever since showing who is responsible. And in a lot of ways, it is the Freemasons in high places. Here in the San Bernardino shooting, they put their symbolism right before us. The square and compass with the G in the middle. The Masons are into symbolism, measurements. It's all in it, in that Masonic compass and square. If you're new here, here's what you should know about the San Bernardino shooting as well as the G in Freemasonry. There's a form of gematria, that's the practice of coding numbers into words, where lowercase a through lowercase z is worth 1 through 26. The alphabet is 26 letters. Each letter is worth its place in the alphabet. Uppercase a through uppercase z is worth 27 through 52, and this way uppercase z is worth 33. Freemasons, their patches are often seen even on police officer uniforms. The word police itself has gematria of 33 with the Pythagorean method. Let me teach you two methods of gematria real quick. First, in regards to the date of December 2nd, 12/2, a lot like 122, this number sequence connects to the word Freemason. In Francis Bacon gematria, capital G is worth 32. Remember, lowercase a through z, 1 through 26, uppercase a through z, 27 through 52. Uppercase F is 32. Uppercase G is 33. Anyhow, R is 18. E is 5. E is 5. M is 13. A is 1. S is 19. O is 15. N is 14. Added up, Freemason sums to 122. Also, this smaller method, the way it works for police is P is the 16th letter, but instead of adding 16, you do 1 plus 6 equals 7. O is the 15th letter. 1 plus 5 is 6. L is the 12th. 1 plus 2 is 3. I is 9. C is 3. E is 5. Added up, 33. 33, a number of obsession with the Freemasons. The memorial for George Washington, a 33rd degree Freemason, is 333 feet tall in Virginia.